The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning. Welcome to today's webinar, What OGS Centralized Contracts Can Do for You. My name is Matthew Darius. I'm the Professional Development Coordinator here at ASBO, and I'll be moderating today's call. A couple points of housekeeping before I turn you over to our presenters. If anyone has any questions at any time, please feel free to ask them. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can use the chat window on your GoToWebinar control panel. It's on the right-hand side of your screen. You can use the questions box. That's more of a threaded messaging type window. You can type your question in there, and we'll get that answered for you. Or you can hit the raise hand button. That's also on your GoToWebinar control panel. It's a circular button with a hand. You hit that, and it notifies me you want to ask a question to our presenters over the phone, and then we'll break in and put you through. In order to use that, you do have to have typed in your audio PIN. Now you can find your audio PIN on the audio section of your GoToWebinar control panel. It's simply a code you type in with a hashtag at the end right into your phone. Once you've done that, you'll be able to ask questions over the phone. So with that out of the way, I'm going to turn you over to Deborah Cunningham for a little more information.
Good morning, everybody. I am Deborah Cunningham, Director of Education and Research for the New York State Association of School Business Officials. New York State school districts spend over $8 billion on goods and services, non-personnel services, each year. This represents 14% of statewide educational expenditures and supports essential instructional services. The planning, purchase, and delivery of goods and services for school districts are managed by school business staff through a procurement process. The environment that school business staff face when managing procurement is challenging because it's governed by a complex set of state and local laws and regulations designed to promote three goals. 1, ensuring the best price. 2, providing open and fair competition. And 3rd, preventing favoritism and corruption. The key objective of procurement is to buy materials, supplies, and equipment of the right quality, in the right quantity, from the right source, at the right price, at the proper time. However, this is not an easy task because efficiency objectives can conflict with financial and legal accountability. All districts have the option of purchasing commodities via the New York State Office of General Services contracts in lieu of using competitive sourcing to take advantage of the state's purchasing power. OGS contracts are a leading procurement method for a number of equipment, furniture, and supply categories. This webinar will focus on the benefits of centralized contracts and how to use them, including new buying opportunities and purchasing technology. This is especially timely with guidance released for the Smart Schools Bond Act just yesterday by the New York State Education Department that provides $2 billion in general obligation bonds to finance improved educational technology and infrastructure to improve learning and opportunity for students throughout the state. This webinar will increase your capacity to engage in responsible purchasing for your school district and inform you of additional opportunities for training on timely and relevant procurement-related topics. Our presenters today are uniquely qualified to deliver this webinar. Lauren Hartley from Customer Services has been part of the Customer Services team for more than 8 years. She is an important part of OGS's outreach to authorized users, and you'll often see her at SAMPO events across the state where she teaches people how to use OGS contracts. She has nearly 10 years of procurement experience in New York State. Dorah Rosenzweig is from Intergovernmental Relations at OGS. She's been with Procurement Services for 3 years. As part of the Intergovernmental Relations team, she focuses her efforts on piggybacking procurement opportunities. She has more than 15 years of procurement experience in New York State with agencies like Information Technology Services and the Department of Health. Sharon Featherstone is with the IT Contracting Division of OGS, and she's been with Procurement Services for nearly 4 years. Her focus is in information technology strategic sourcing, where she is a part of the new suite of IT contracts that are currently being developed. She has more than 15 years of procurement experience in New York State at agencies like the Department of Health. So welcome, Lauren, Dorah, and Sharon. And Lauren, I will turn it over to you to begin your presentation.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. Hopefully this will be very informational for you. What I'm going to do first is go over the agenda, the topics that we'll be discussing today. We will explain who we are and what we do, how to use our contracts, contracts of interest, new initiatives, helpful resources, and of course, questions. So first I'll explain who we are and what we do. Excuse me. OGS is a very large organization. We have a lot of departments. Today, of course, we'll be focusing on procurement services. But as you can see, well, we were established in 1960 to provide essential support services for the state and local government. Building administration, real estate services, where we provide owning and leasing buildings through us. We have a large design and construction department. We have administrative services, business services center, and procurement services, where we manage centralized contracts. Just to give you an overview of OGS Procurement Services, this page kind of shows the volume that's associated with procurement services. We have over 7,600 organizations that are eligible to use our contracts. This includes state agencies, local government, non-for-profits, just to name a few. We have nearly 1,500 contracts in our portfolio, and as we get it further into the presentation, we'll discuss the different contracts we have, but we really try and hit on many different areas. And it's listed on the side. We'll be talking about commodity contracts, service contracts, technology, and IT contracts. And we have contracts with over 1,250 vendors. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Dorah for the benefits of using OGS Centralized Contracts.
Good morning, everyone. During the course of doing these presentations, we hear a lot of conflicts about whether or not OGS contracts really are beneficial, and I am here to tell you that as an end user, I think that there's nothing better than using an OGS Centralized Contract. If for no other reason than we do all the work for you. Any of you who have ever been involved in the development of a solicitation to procure goods or services know that it's a long and arduous process that is really full of a ton of regulations and legal requirements that have to be included in it. And the benefit of using our OGS Centralized Contracts is we do all that work for you. One of the other things that I hear from a lot of folks is that OGS contracts are not really any cheaper. Well, I would like to dispel that for one very important reason. The OGS contracts are all not to exceed prices. And I would encourage anyone who ever goes out to use an OGS contract to consider the pricing on the contract as a ceiling, not a floor. I would encourage you to talk with any and all of the vendors and suggest to them that they might want to consider sharpening their pencils. There's nothing to prohibit you from doing that, particularly if you're making a large purchase, a large one-time purchase. And large doesn't need to be in the billions of dollar range. Large for a small vendor that you're doing business with could be a $10,000 purchase. So I would encourage all of you, when you use OGS contracts, to make sure that you have a conversation with the vendor to see what they can do better for you. Because one of the things that we like to encourage with our OGS contracts is the use of local vendors. So, for example, one of our carpeting contracts is with a large manufacturer, but the services are all delivered by your local carpet dealers in each of your local communities. So we encourage you to do business with those folks and to see how better they can sharpen their pencils for you. The other benefit of using these is that we've got the expertise to do this, and we've already developed the supplier relationships for you. So it's really as simple as writing a purchase order against one of our contracts. And for those of you who have or have not done that, customer service is really fabulous at helping you walk through that process. With some of our commodities, like things like salt or milk, you're going to have some additional requirements, road salt that is. You're going to have some additional filed requirements that I think somebody else is going to talk about a little bit later. But I truly believe that our locals can benefit greatly from using the OGS contracts, and I would encourage all of you to do so. And if you're having problems with using any of our contracts, get on the phone to any one of us, and we can help work that out for you. So in order to use our contracts, you need to be an authorized user, and all of you are authorized users. All the school districts, all the private schools, all the universities, you're all authorized users. If you have never used an OGS contract before, you're just going to need to file an eligibility application, and we've given you the web address at the bottom. It's a one-page, very easy application process, and you're going to get a customer number, and once you do that, you are going to be free to use any of the 1,500 contracts that we have out there. We've put up, we did not list all 1,500 contracts here. You can find them all on our website, and they're all listed by category. But I just want to bring to your attention a couple that have more recently been stood up, because these might be very helpful to you. We've just piggybacked on some AED contracts, and those are great because everybody needs them in their school districts. Lamps, floor coverings and related services is the carpeting contract, and that one has installation included in it, which is something that the previous contract didn't have. I encourage all of you to take a look at that. We've got, for any of your house and grounds or groundskeeping staff, we've got heavy equipment that they have been clamoring for, things like Toro, John Deere, all sorts of lawn maintenance types of equipment, so maybe your grounds staff would be interested in that. We've got outdoor and site furniture. That contract will expire in September of this year, but I anticipate there being an additional contract. Travel management services, if your superintendents are going to do a lot of traveling, we might have some opportunity to save you some money with our travel management services. And then there's the technology contracts. And with your $2 billion sitting there waiting to be spent, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to do that at really competitive prices. And our technology contracts cover an entire scope of services that you would need: hardware, software, services. We're going to have e-learning so that your users might be able to take sexual harassment training online, for example. We've got microcomputers that you can purchase through the PC Ag Buy. We're going to have all sorts of system peripherals that your IT staff is going to be interested, and it's going to be able to really, I think, ramp up your ability to take advantage of the sophisticated technology that's coming out now. School buses is something that your transportation department is going to be interested in, and we've got those on contract now. And my personal favorite is the playground equipment. These contracts, we've got 2 currently stood up, 2 more that are waiting to be signed, and 1 more in the wings. These contracts will expire again in September, but I have every reason to expect that those will be renewed. Those are piggyback contracts. Sure.
Laura wants to know, what is NJPA?
NJPA is the National Joint Alliance Program, and that is a consortia that we have been using to piggyback on their contracts. So what that allows for us is we don't have to go through the entire procurement process. It's a contract. These are contracts that were let by a public entity that now state finance law allows the state of New York to piggyback on. So it's another public entity, and NJPA happens to be from the state of Minnesota. So those folks have done the competitive solicitation and stood up contracts. We then just piggyback on those and adopt them so that they look and feel exactly like any other New York State OGS centralized contract.
Okay, we have another question.
Sure thing.
If New York State piggybacks on an NJPA bid, are we, the end user school district, procuring the products via a Jody Fleischer, procuring the products via a New York State contract, or are we piggybacking on NJPA?
No, you're procuring the goods or services from a New York State OGS centralized contract. We adopt them, and they become New York State contracts with a New York State contract number and all of the protections that all of our New York State contracts have, because we take those contracts that have been issued by other entities and lay on top of it all of the New York State terms and conditions that we need for our own protections. So they are just New York State centralized OGS contracts. They look and feel like any other contract.
Great, thank you.
And Dora, I have a question. This is Deborah. When you refer to e-learning, are you talking about for students or for staff or for both?
We're primarily talking about for staff.
Okay.
These are going to, yeah, and you may have nurses, for example, in the school district who need to have a refresher course to recertify their license, for example. Those are the kinds of classes. You may have some of the grounds folks who need to take hazardous materials or those kinds of classes, and it's really primarily for the staff, not for the students.
Yes, thank you for clarifying.
Anytime.
Okay, we have another question about NJPA.
Okay.
Lisa wants to know, are all NJPA contracts applicable, or do you vet each one individually?
Oh, we vet each one individually. Moreover, there's a lot of different consortia out there. There's NJPA, there's WSCA, there's TCPN, there's a bunch of them. And many of these consortia have the same contract, and we vet the contracts from each one of them. For example, the Toro contract was a good example. That was on 2 different consortia, and we made sure that we piggybacked on the one that had the best prices for the state of New York. So we don't just randomly or willy-nilly adopt these contracts. There's a lot of research that goes into determining if those contracts are going to meet the needs of our end users. So they have been fully vetted.
Okay, we have more questions. Why does it take so long for contracts to be reissued, i.e. books expired in December and the contract is still not available?
That's a hard question to answer. Some of it has to do with resources. Some of it has to do with our vendors. There's not just one answer that goes into that. There's a lot of different factors that determine whether and how quickly we're going to get a contract renewed or up and running. It is an onerous process, which I sort of alluded to in the very beginning, which is why using centralized contracts is so good for you. You don't have to go through this. And this is a little bit inside baseball, but there's a ton of documentation requirements that we require of our vendors, and there's MWBE requirements, and some of these just take a long time to put entirely into place. But and we understand that there are gaps in our contracts that we're trying to address with some of these piggyback contracts, and some of these are stopgap measures to ameliorate those problems, but we do recognize that we do have some challenges in that arena.
Okay, great. And we have one more question here on NJPA. If there is one NJPA in particular we would like to use, can we suggest OGS look into it?
Absolutely. Well, yes. The answer to that is yes and no. If there's a particular good or service that you would like OGS to put on contract, that I most definitely want to hear about. But what I will do then is find out the best way to get that. For example, give me an example of a rental of postal machines, for example, or kitchen equipment. We heard from one of the BOCES in Long Island that they needed commercial kitchen equipment. So my job then was to go and find the best contract out there for commercial kitchen equipment. So if any of the school districts have something that they would like to see on contract, absolutely get in touch with me all the time. Let me know what kind of things you're looking for, and then we'll here at OGS figure out the best way to get that on contract. It may or may not be NJPA, but we have access to a ton of these consortia, and we'll be able to get you the best deal we can.
Thank you. That's all the questions.
Okay. And this is just, some other contracts that I think the school districts are going to be interested in. Office supplies and furniture, something that you need on a regular basis, I would assume. And now I think I'm going to turn it back over to Lauren to talk about filed requirements.
Yes. Filed requirements are necessary for some of our contracts just because of the sheer volume that's involved. We're talking about milk, road salt, and fuels. So basically what happens is different times of the years, filed requirements will open. So it's an online portal that you use, and you're going to go in and you're going to estimate as best as you can how much of these products that you would be using for the following year. So, for example, road salt is open now until the end of May. So you would go onto this site, and it will also pull up the information from any former years you have of how much you've ordered, so you really have a good idea of what to order. Now, with salt, you are obligated to buy 70% of what you estimated that you put in, and then you can you're allowed to go over it up to 120%, and then the price may not be guaranteed after the 120%. Because as you know, like with the bad winters, we plowed through, no pun intended, we really plowed through the road salt this year. And we had, there was a lot of problems in the beginning getting it, but we really worked with the contractors and got the salt out there. As far as fuels, we have gasoline, diesel, propane, and heating oil. Many school districts utilize this. It's a very popular one, as is the milk contract. Now, all of this information is online. I can also, we in customer services don't deal with the milk contract, but if anybody's interested offline, I can certainly give you the email of the people that are involved with the milk contract and how their filing requirements work. Another thing to do is what we have, it's probably mentioned later, but we have what's called a purchaser notification system, where you can sign up to receive information on contracts and alerts and announcements. So this is one way of letting you know when the file requirement system is up. Until you're in the system, then we have your information and we can go from there. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Sharon now.
So right now our IT group within Procurement Services is working on 3 major initiatives. They're brand new. They do a lot of different things, and they're intended to replace mostly our current IT contracts. So as we talked about earlier, we have a bunch of contracts in place for miscellaneous items in the IT world, but we want to be able to consolidate them and make them easier for you and the users to be able to get what you need and make it easier to get what you need and quicker. So right now we're working on a project consulting initiative. We're working on an umbrella manufacturer-based initiative, and to be moving forward is our distributor initiative. Project consulting, it's mainly for services. It's 36-month engagements for a vendor to come in and do things like technical architecture, software development, etc. Our manufacturer base is a little bit different. It's broken up by lots. We have hardware, software, cloud, which is something that a lot of our authorized users are itching to get on contract, but cloud unfortunately does come with some reservations. We're working on those right now. We want to make the contract safe for our authorized users. And then implementation of those services of our software and our hardware and our cloud services. Our distributor-based umbrella is going to come a little bit later, and we're hoping that that picks up the pieces where we might have some gaps after our umbrella or our project consulting. All 3 contracts work to complement each other. They're all going to have periodic recruitment. They all have multiple-year contracts. They are open for expansion. So, as the marketplace keeps changing, these contracts will be able to change with those changes and keep up with the industry. The project consulting, we're hoping to have awards done by the end of June. Our umbrella manufacturer, it's out on the streets right now with our proposals due the end of May, and we hope to have contracts awarded by the end of August. And the umbrella distributor is going to trail behind, and we hope to have that out midsummer with awards towards the end of fall.
Okay, hi, Lauren again. We're going to talk about one of my favorite new initiatives, introducing the New York State Vehicle Marketplace. The way it's set up now, and it has been for years, is we have had set contracts for the light-duty vehicles with set pricing. So we're switching that up now, and we are going to be using a mini-bid process, which is going to give you a lot more choices, and you can specify exactly what it is you're looking for. And we've had a lot of success with it so far. The process goes very smoothly, very quickly, and people are getting more what they like. Basically what happens is there's an online portal, and you're going to go in there and post your mini bid. You are going, or first you're going to go in and fill out a form, Form A, with all the specs of everything that you're looking for. Then you're going to send it back to OGS, and we're going to post it. And then it's going to go out to all of our authorized dealers, and they're going to submit bids. So you're basically getting people that are, you know, they're bidding against each other in hopes that they win the award, and so you're going to get very good pricing. And you can go in then and decide who you want to contract with, and then you will contact the dealer directly and work out the process with them. There is a link for you to go online. It's very well spelled out. The forms are there. And then there's another link where you can go on and see what people have requested, just to get an idea of how the forms work and how quick. It's very quick. Apparently within 3 days of receiving it, we get it to the dealers, and then we give them a deadline. I believe it's of 5 days. So then you get a report back, and you can make your decisions from there.
One of the other new initiatives that the governor has touted this year is the Buy New York initiative. And this is primarily to expand the farm-to-table program that's been going on, and it focuses on food that's grown, harvested, produced, or processed in New York State. This is a joint initiative by a bunch of state agencies to really encourage the use of New York State farm products, produce, fruit, cheese, milk, so that it encourages the use of New York State products, and it really is also part of the childhood obesity initiative. So I would encourage you to have your food service folks take a look at these, because these are going to be really fabulous contracts. We're going to have things like individually quick frozen vegetables and things. Oh boy, that was a hard one to spit out. Individually quick frozen vegetables and things like that that are going to really, you know, I think go a long way to helping the school districts provide more nutritious and less expensive fresh food to your students.
Another initiative that we're in the process of putting forward and hope to roll out in the fall is our New York State Marketplace and our e-catalog. This is an Amazon-like system. It's going to be web-based, and it's going to allow our authorized users to purchase the goods and services from contracts in one place, online, automated. Everything happens from placing the order to the invoicing with our vendors. So it's a quicker, it's faster, and it's going to be much more efficient for our authorized users. Again, it'll be completely online, and it's going to simplify the entire process. And more information will be released about eMarketplace as it's rolled out towards the end of the fall. It'll work through our current statewide fiscal system, our SFS system. I'm going to move on to some helpful resources.
Okay. There are a lot of resources out there for all of you to utilize. I'll just go through some of them.
For you.
Oh, sure.
This is from Susan. We are seeing an increasing need to use MWBE enterprises for purchasing, especially for grants. How is OGS addressing this need?
This is Dorah, and I can help you answer that. In all of our New York State centralized contracts, we have MWBE utilization goals. So every contract is going to have a goal that the vendors need to reach. For example, I can speak to the carpeting contract because that one was, I think, pretty well done. We had goals of 20% for minority and women-owned businesses. So the manufacturers were responsible for making sure that the vendors who were going to be fulfilling the contracts, that 20% of them were minority and or women-owned businesses. So in your New York State centralized contracts, you're going to be able to see when you pull up a contract and you see who's going to be able to fulfill that good or service for you, you're going to know which one of those are women or minority-owned businesses. And we make it very easy for you to use those entities to fulfill your own individual goals.
So actually that's an area where OGS really is helpful to school districts by shouldering that responsibility.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. On to the helpful resources. The first one is our site, OGS. There is a lot of information on here. You're going to find a lot of useful information for where to find contracts, guidelines, laws, everything. And I urge you all, I'm jumping ahead here, but afterwards to please call customer services because I know if you're going on our site for the first time it can be a little daunting, but we're there to help guide you through it. So please feel free to call us and we can help you find things. The purchasing forum Dorah is going to touch on. The Empire State Development is another useful site. Let me see if it's on here. The contract reporter I wanted to point out is put out through Empire State Development. And as for the buyers on your side, you can go in and sign up for various things and get announcements and alerts. And one of them is, I talked to the milk team earlier, is to sign up under food and milk, and then they will send you the information when the alert comes out to file for milk. So that's an example of where it's really useful for you, so that you don't miss out on signing up for these things on time. Office of the State Comptroller is always very helpful. You know, they fall under general municipal law, so you're going to get a lot of information on that you're not going to get on our site. NIGP is useful. I don't know if any of you have been to SAMPO. SAMPO are wonderful conferences. They're really geared towards purchasers. A lot of school district employees attend those, and they're very useful. The classes they provide are really well received. And NASPO is also a great organization. So you can go on to all of these and check them out. Another thing, purchaser notification system. I mentioned that. That is through us, through OGS, and that's on our site. You can sign up to receive information on as many contracts as you want. So you'll receive contract updates, what they're renewed, if they're being extended, if they were awarded. You'll get information about the forum, again, filed requirements. So I really urge all of you to sign up. We call it PNS. It's Purchase Notification System. And again, please call customer service. We can help you find all of these links pretty quickly.
And for those of you who are interested in coming to beautiful downtown Albany in May to see the tulips and the lilacs, I encourage you to join us for the 2015 Purchasing Forum and Trade Show. This is really a fabulous opportunity for you to do a number of things. There's training sessions so that you can get some additional information or training on how to do a procurement if our OGS contracts don't meet your needs, because you know we've been able to put up a lot of contracts that you're going to need and want, but there are going to be those that we haven't done for you, and you may need to do a procurement yourself. So we offer free training on this, and it's really a fabulous opportunity. It's a great opportunity to meet and greet the vendors that you do business with on a regular basis, to begin to work on those relationships. And there's also opportunities for best practices. We're going to tell you what we've done, how it's worked, how it didn't work, what what we think you might be interested. And it's really a great opportunity to come and get some free advice from those of us who do purchasing and procurement on an ongoing daily basis. So I encourage all of you to come. It's free. You just need to register. You can do so on our website. And it's really a fabulous opportunity. There's about usually anywhere from 1,000 to 1,200 participants. We've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 400 booths. So, you know, it's really a very useful use of your time. And as Lauren has said, customer service is just that. They are designed to provide customer service, and they do it fabulously. I would encourage any of you, if you have questions, if you want to talk through something, if you want some help in navigating our website, which is better than it used to be, but still can be a little daunting, I encourage you to call customer service. If you want to talk to any of us directly, you can call customer service and they'll put you in touch with us. You know, we're really here to make sure that you get all of the information that you need and want so that your contracting and your procurements are efficient, effective, and cost-effective as well. So please use us as a resource. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us on Facebook. We have a great digital presence, thanks to Sarah. So, you know, there's really a lot of stuff that we can do for you, and we welcome the opportunity to do it. Again, if there's stuff that you think you need or want, please get in touch with us. If there's a service or a commodity or a type of contract that you absolutely can't live without and can't do the work yourself, let us know. There's ways that we can help you with that. So please use us as a resource. We're really here to help our authorized users and would welcome the opportunity. And I think that about does it for us. If anyone has any more questions, we are all here and available to answer them.
Yes, we have a question. Has anything been resolved regarding the staples contract that still has pending items, but they do not supply them?
We're all sitting here looking at one another, and the answer to that is I don't know the answer to that. So we can get back to you on that one, okay?
All right, thank you. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to input them now.
Okay, hearing no further questions, I would just like to thank Lauren Hartley, Dorah Rosenzweig, Sharon Featherstone, and Sarah Lafayette for this very informative presentation. And we will have a recorded copy of this online, won't we, Matt?
Yes, I'll be posting it to School Business Connect under the resource section.
Okay, excellent. So if you want to refer to something or look at it again, it will be available. So thank you very much, and everyone have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, too.